So welcome to another video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Grant.
And welcome to February's monthly debrief of 2023.
So cool that it's through. I hate February.
I agree.
It is the only month of the year that I absolutely hate. And I think it's because it's smack dab in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm over. I'm ready for baseball season to start. And I'm ready for warm weather. And I just hate it. Now it's March, whatever it is today, the 3rd.
Yes.
And I'm happy. It's
at least they were good enough to make February the shortest calendar month. So I think even they knew it was
next
crap.
year. It's like 29, or maybe it's
because when it's a leap year.
Yeah, it's coming up soon.
Yeah.
Next year or the year after. But anyway, yes, it is. This is February's debrief.
Yes, the shortest month of the year, and also maybe some of the lesser amount of wargaming that we ended up doing.
And
where we did so much in January. We did
and
a lot less this month.
And I know in our last debrief, we talked about, we're going to do this and this and this. And we missed a week. And then we had a week where we played a little war games, but not much. And Frosthaven came.
The Frosthaven train arrived. And
yeah. Although we're still playing war games, just just not like,
but like
1 to 2 a week.
It was very easy for us to be like, let's do this all day.
Yeah.
So yeah. But
very true.
Yeah,
I feel bad. I feel like we've let everyone down.
Guess what? They won't know.
No, it's true.
Because
they don't care.
As of the day that we're recording this, we have videos scheduled every other day, almost till the middle of May.
Okay.
And it's kind of gross and terrifying how much that there is. Because we're just constantly in a backlog, because we'll go to something like a convention, and we'll make 15 videos there.
Well,
that's
literally
a month of content.
Buckeye Game Fest is next month, and I know we're going to make like 12 to 15 videos.
Yeah, well,
in a 4-day period, and you're going to run those out. That's like a month's worth of content.
Yeah, so, like, yeah, sure, we didn't play a whole ton of games in February, but it doesn't make a blip on the schedule of releases and things that we have played. No. There's still reviews for 2022 games coming out in May. Right?
Yeah, and I think that's the only thing I don't like about the way we do our scheduling. And I'm not saying change it, but we just did our top 10 2022 video, and there's 4 or 5 of those that haven't even posted yet. Anyway, actually, it's not that many. It's like only a couple, but
no, but it's
3 or 4 or 5,
and that's significant.
Yeah,
I mean, people got something to look forward to.
Yeah,
but also
absolutely.
like.
And you know what? I really don't even give a crap about top 10 or years, or I'm just wanting to play good games. I just don't really care.
I think those are fun though, because I think it's a way to get lots of games into one video, and people can enjoy and see lots of different things. I enjoy that.
I do too. Yeah, I watch other people's, and
because I like the variety. You see something, I didn't know about that or this, and it's not just like one game for half hour.
Yeah,
sorry.
True.
So
now that we've rambled for 10 minutes.
Yes. This particular ramble is brought to you by Noble Knight Games, who are a sponsor of ours.
The good folks at Noble Knight Games.
Yes. More from them later on. But let's jump into what we did get to this month.
In February.
And we're going to talk about kind of all games, because the war games was not nearly as many as we perhaps wanted.
We played some war games, but not just not as many.
Not as many, no. What war games did we play? That's a great question.
Well, let's
the big box down here, right?
Yeah, let's go ahead and
because we did a few of these.
We did 4 scenarios, I think, 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think it's So, Undaunted Stalingrad. This was on the last monthly debrief. It's going to be on the monthly debrief for the next couple of months, most likely.
Well, because we've actually committed. I think we're through 5 scenarios now.
Yeah, we did 5. We're about the next one is
starting 6. I mean, we have committed that we want to finish that here in the spring. So that's going to require, like, every time we get together, at least 1 scenario.
I didn't know we'd committed to it in the spring.
Yeah, we had talked about getting it done by, like, maybe I committed
Hey, man,
this too.
Well, it works for me. I don't mind.
Well, I mean, we have to play about 10 more of them, right?
Yeah, and so I figured 2 a month for the next 5
So maybe
months.
it's going to be June.
But like, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't feel under pressure to like rush through it.
No. Well, we've already got 2 videos coming out on this.
Yeah, and
we did a playthrough, and we did kind of our first impressions.
Yeah. Yes. So
halfway through,
and that's just it. I don't I enjoy playing this game so much, and it's so easy to kind of whip out and play a couple.
Yeah.
That like it's really easy for this to continue to hit the table, and for us to keep that momentum going with it.
And it's a great game. I enjoy it. I will say this: I love the concept of the campaigns and the objectives of the different scenarios.
We do like campaign games.
I've started to realize our last couple of scenarios, like you've quit playing objectives once.
Yep.
And just started shooting my riflemen, and I'm like, yeah, you could just do that every time.
That's the other way to win in every scenario, unless apparently there's ones where you can't do that.
Okay.
The rulebook says unless a scenario states otherwise, you can always win by routing their rifle.
Okay.
So there's a couple you can't, but
so let me give you an example, and I don't want to do too many spoilers. I think it was our fourth scenario. The Soviets got engineers. I was really excited. I had an artillery card, which was really nice, and I had those darn engineers. I had 3 of them in my deck, and they were intended to go out and they can put out landmines or mines that will anti-tank, right? Or you can demolish buildings. But the way the scenario was set up,
very challenging.
I had to run out in the open. You like obliterated my first engineer. I'm like, why am I going to try to do the objective? It was like impossible.
But yeah, so some of the stuff is very challenging. So you're just like, cool, let's just get to the shooting.
Well, and I never felt like some of the others that I think were very challenging for my side. I felt, oh, I can win this. It's going to be hard, but that one, man, I didn't feel like I could win it at all, and that's okay. But that shooting the rifleman, it's starting to gnaw at me a little bit.
Well, you got to withdraw from the scenario.
Well, and you just keep shooting at the riflemen, even though they're... And that's the funny thing, right? You've got a couple guys right here, and you're taking a shot across the map at my lone rifleman standing over on the... Anyway, great game, though.
Not that kind of game.
Great game, though. I love it.
We played a bunch of that.
A bunch of it, actually.
Yes.
Let's go. This is a prototype we played this month. I had a blast with this game.
Yeah, so this is the Hunt from Salt and Pepper Games.
Coming out on GameFound March 15th.
Yes, so watch out for that when you're watching this video. We did a preview for this, so there's a full kind of video with a look at how the gameplay is in this game coming out as well.
I did a first impression.
Make sure we show them the back of the box.
There's nothing on the back of the box.
It's a prototype.
I did a first impression post on this. What will be coming out?
The back of the box is upside down.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's so annoying. But yeah, I did a first impression. I have an interview also coming with Ingen Kunter and Matthias Kramer.
Yes, really fun little game.
It's great.
A great 40-minute hidden movement game.
Yep.
I think that's very tough to have done in that design space, and they did a really good job with it.
Yep.
And great artwork, very good.
Oh, it's fantastic. So that was fun to play. Another game that we played together, we played Votes for Women.
Yes.
You see that the box is done right.
The video for this is scheduled for like 2 months out.
Well, and that's sad, but
it is.
This is my copy of the game, and it's done right. I need to write some stuff on this one as well. But yeah, Votes for Women. It's a cool card-driven game.
Yeah.
Very neat.
Like area influence, collecting influence for votes, and then you kind of have a resolution. This is one of the cleanest games I've played in a very long time.
And I think all the mechanics really work extremely well together.
Like
they really do.
For Tori Brown, who designed this,
I think,
to have got so many layers into it without it being too many, and for it to fit on 4 pages of actual rules, and for it to work as well as it does, is a staggering achievement. Like we played this. And I think about this almost every day because I'm now starting to compare a lot of other games of this style to this one because they did it in... I can only imagine the level of development that went into this for it to be 4 pages and for it to be no problems with it.
I believe I've heard Kevin with Fort Circle Games say that Jason Matthews was somewhat involved in the development of this, right? I don't know if he has... credits on
but they all live in DC.
Yeah, they live, and this really, in my opinion, smacked of 1960 Making of the President, meaning it had some of the same feeling and concepts, but very, very unique. Also, one of the most beautifully produced games I think I've ever played.
Great little pieces, love it.
The one thing I want to say about this one, and this is, I'm going to get up on my soapbox. I have heard a lot of people like ragging this. Oh, it's so woke, and why are we? You know what?
The problem is you on that one. Sorry.
I'm sorry. This is a great historical thing.
Yeah, it's a really good game.
I love my wife. I love my mother, although she's passed, God rest her soul. I love my mother-in-law. And I'm grateful for the opportunity that they have to vote on issues in our country that affect them. And I just don't understand. I just don't understand it. So if you have that problem, I apologize, but I don't apologize. It's a great game, and it's a great subject.
Yeah. The game itself is so good.
Yeah. It is so excellent.
If you like games, this is it's so well made.
I want to play the Oppo-bot. I do want to play it solo. I just haven't got around to doing it. But yeah, I just enjoyed that one so freaking much.
It's very good.
So fun.
One more thing with this.
Yeah.
It was...
I'm hurrying us, I'm sorry.
No. We play a lot of war games, right?
We do.
And I will say it one more time. It was so refreshing to not have to dig through a big rule book.
Yeah.
It was...
and not have to dig through a big rule book, but feel like you're eating a huge tea.
Yes. Like it was...
Like you're sinking your teeth into that thing, and it's so good. Even though it's 4 or 5 pages.
We get into discussions quite a lot on the Players Aid Slack channel where people are like discussing like the somewhat dire state of wargaming rulebooks, right? Where everything's case points and it's lots of text and it's 2 columns and it's 20 pages. This is a 4-page rulebook and it has the same amount of rules as something like 1960 Making a President.
Yeah.
Which has at least twice as many rules in it, but doesn't really need it. And so playing this, it was like, oh man, yeah, there's like merit to that. Like, there's a lot to learn from Eurogame rulebooks, I think.
And I think that that's one of those things that's going to ultimately make our hobby better. These kind of games coming out in this space, the historical board game, war game space, people are going to have to start picking their game up. Right?
Yes.
Not only from a production standpoint, I think GMT for years has been doing that, and some of the other publishers are starting to catch up. I mean, we've started to see MMP have really great looking games, and some of Compass's games are really great.
Some of those games are really nice.
Some of them aren't, but that's another subject.
But that's getting there. But
then the rules,
the standard of rules writing in board games more broadly is much higher than it has been historically with wargaming, and I would love to see that space be improved because I've learned a lot of rule sets in war games, and it's reading that was like, oh, I know how to play the game immediately, and it was a joy to play because of that.
The other thing I would say, and we played another historical game. This past year. And I had looked forward to that game for months. I backed it on Kickstarter, right?
I was looking forward to it as much as you.
So excited to play that one, and it just fell flat.
It looked like it was going to be like Votes for Women, right? It looked like it was going to be that style of game.
And it just wasn't.
And it just...
I think it had some unique and interesting mechanics, but ultimately it didn't work together. It didn't work together in the package that it was put in.
The rules were awful.
Yeah, and even the rules that are new and have come out, I've read them and I'm not sure they're that much better. They're a little better.
Not really.
But I still want to give that a shot because I think we can go and play it with 4 other people.
There is a really good game in there. Yeah. There is a game probably as good as Votes for Women in there.
You just need to find it.
It's just, that is... it's a tragedy because the rulebook is so bad compared to one that's so good.
And the game we're talking about is...
Free at Last.
Free at Last, the MLK struggle for... equality,
really cool
civil rights. Such an interesting topic, and I read a ton on that before Kickstart backing it, and I just look forward to it forever. And when we got it, I was so... You remember I brought it over, and I'm like, oh, let's get the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And an hour in, I'm like, what is going on?
It was like getting hit by a car reading the rule book.
I struggled with that, but this was so good. I think those are polar opposites.
You were like, we were immediately playing it.
Yeah.
That's a credit to that.
I wish that maybe this development team could reach out to that team and see what they could fix, because I do think there's a game there that is very worth playing.
If they did Free at Last 2nd edition, I'd be in.
Yeah. Another game that I actually played this month, this is Archies War, the Battle for Guadalcanal from Worthington Publishing. Sorry, I've got some of the pieces out. I packed this up pretty quickly.
Not anymore.
Yeah, well. Very simple game. It's actually made as a 2-player game, but has a solo version.
I thought it was the other way around.
So I do want to play this with you because it's like a 30 to 40 minute game.
Yeah.
Nothing real difficult. I think the solo game is unique and interesting. It's not great. I'm going to be totally honest.
It's not as engaging as you might want.
No, it's when a game uses blocks and they're intended to obscure what number of units you
they
have,
just face up.
they're just laying down. And you take out that intrigue, you take out that
half the fun of it,
surprise, and it's just a lot of dice rolling when you're playing just the solo. It works, and it's fun and interesting. I want to play this 2-player.
We expect it to be a better 2-player game.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay. So I want to put this on our list of playing either this month or next month because
sure.
it's 30 to 40 minutes. It says victory in under an hour, but the solo game's like 30 minutes, and I know it's going to be that.
Okay.
But anyway, very unique game. Derek Croxton created this. It's over the battle literally for Henderson Airfield on Guadalcanal. Very cool. Very unique game. And I played it once, and I'm going to play it some more, but I've also got Stalingrad Advance on the the Volga.
We will talk about here in a second.
Yeah.
So we also played, for fun this month, Dawn of the Zeds. Because I wanted to die in February. That's how much I hate February. But I wanted to live again.
We won.
So we played a zombie game.
But we won.
Yes.
We didn't even die.
No.
Which was a shock.
Dawn of the Zeds, this is like the ultimate big boy deluxe edition from the old Victory Point games.
This has level upon level upon level of added elements and components and modules and
and it's increasing difficulties as you go on and more different zombie tropes from different films and TV shows.
What level did we play, do you I mean in a scale?
So currently the one that we had just done was level 3.
Okay, out of
5 total.
Okay.
So there's like base game, and we played the base game a few times.
Right.
We
And I
played
felt like
level
it
2 a
was
few times.
hard.
And then level 3 I punched that night, and we played that where you have to build the super weapon.
It was kind of cool.
You could do lots of fun stuff.
I enjoyed it. States of Siege, Herman Lutman. It's one of his finest games because it's fun, it's interesting, and it's a great topic. I mean, who doesn't love zombies running you down?
I believe this is still available, but I don't know.
Okay. Great game. If you have never played Dawn of the Zeds, you need to
if you want a zombie co-op game, this is the zombie co-op game.
What else did we play in February? Well,
I think the last one that we've got, I think, was I already kind of showed it. I'm not getting it off my shelf.
Oh, because it's 15 pounds.
Bigger than I am. So we played Frosthaven. This is just all of the map tiles in here that you get, that's a nice little Velcro.
It is.
You love that.
So what is Frosthaven?
So Frosthaven is...
And I'm asking after having played probably 1,000 times.
Frosthaven is the sequel to Gloomhaven, and I kind of put them together as the greatest game of all time.
They're fantastic.
So it is a campaign, story-driven, dungeon-crawling game.
Yeah.
The combat mechanic is this hand of cards and all this extra
very
economy.
tactical style of combat too. You're working together. You have ranges. You have movement. You have abilities.
Your cards have dual use, and you've got to choose which ones. And they also your life force, and those run out as you use them. So you're on a timer. We played all of Gloomhaven. I mean, we completed the campaign at least once.
50 scenarios.
Well, and then we just started doing random extra ones.
Well, and then we also then got Jaws of the Lion, which had another 10 scenarios.
Played through all of that.
Then we played online.
And we played through the full campaign in that. And then we started doing...
Which we haven't finished.
But then we were doing the random extra mode. I don't even remember what that called.
What it's called.
Guildmaster mode or something like that?
It's not the campaign, it's just...
And we were just like... waiting for Frosthaven for 2 years.
I just love the system. I love it.
And it arrived.
I love it.
And it is just as good as I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Well,
it's even better than Gloomhaven. Because you're now not just building your character, you're building an entire settlement.
Yes.
From buildings to defenses to crafting items. It's just
it's the downtime aspect of it's a bit more involved, and so the pace of play is a little bit slower because instead of just having like 5 minutes between missions and setting up, there's a good 10-15 minutes. But what you do there is very interesting, and it's very influential because there's a lot more story in the game as well. But yeah, it's this big, bombastic dungeon crawler, and we play it on Saturdays for like the whole day, and I glued together
with our father-in-law
the madness that is the insert that has all the different trays and stuff.
Actually, those trays really make the game a lot more easy to play.
Yeah, you just
everything's organized.
Pick it up. Here's this. Here's that. And when I didn't get the one for Gloomhaven, and then when they offered it, I was like, okay, I got to do it. Just if we're gonna play the whole thing for a year and a half, I want the convenient start from the start. But yeah, I think that's all the games that we played.
So we didn't play a great number of games, but many of those games we played multiple times.
Yeah, Undaunted a bunch. We played this a bunch.
And I still had a good time in February. My family actually went out of town, and I came over here and stayed for like 2 days. We played game after game, but we played a lot of
We were playing Dawn of the Zeds till 1 a.m.
Yeah, it was fun. And here it is, almost midnight, and I'm tired as heck today. But good month. I'm glad February's behind us, frankly.
Yes. Now,
just not my favorite month.
March, we got a lot of stuff to look forward to.
We do.
Because I think we can start taking a dive into some of the 2023 games.
I think our first 2023 game, that's a war game, we're going to play this month.
Yes.
Well, we already played it. Sorry.
We're going to play it today, or we already did, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at what we will play. Okay. So a big part of this is in the middle of the month, we're going to Basement Con.
Yes.
It's a big convention with some friends of ours. So there's a couple big games that we play when we go there. This is obviously not a new game. This is Here I Stand. Here I Stand is one of my favorite games of all time, and might be one of the best multiplayer games of all time. I think that's fair to say. Of war games, at least.
I love Here I Stand. It's just such a sublime experience.
Yeah, we played Here I Stand with those guys, and then when we went there that first, we played Virgin Queen, and now we got back to Here I Stand, so maybe we'll kind of switch those off every year. But
I think I prefer Here I Stand, but I really enjoyed Virgin Queen. I think it was interesting.
It's tough, because I really liked Virgin Queen.
Yeah.
I think I might like them equally, but differently.
Yeah, they are very different.
Because they
are very different.
There's similarities, but the nuance in some of the differences is very cool. But yeah, Here I Stand. If you've not played this, get a group, play it with 6 people. That's what you want to do. Play it with 6 people.
We're playing it with 6 people.
And
who are you? Who do you want to be this time?
I
have played Protestants. I've played England. I've played France. I've played
the Habsburgs.
Not played the Habsburgs.
They're very difficult.
I've not played the Ottomans.
I played the Ottomans and the Habsburgs and the English.
I've played the papacy once.
I'd be intrigued to play the French, considering how poorly the French did in our Virgin Queen game last time we played.
I literally spanked them as the British.
Yeah, it was gross. But yeah, I don't really mind because it's all a good challenge.
I just need to think about who I'd like to play the Ottomans. I know they're kind of simpler.
Yeah.
So maybe I won't play them.
And it's
because I consider myself a decent hero.
But it's a case of, will you get bored of that? Like, you're just a military force and you do a lot of pirating, and that's kind of all there is to it.
Right.
Like, there's nuance and challenge in that, but yeah.
Let me think about
there's fewer layers in that.
Yeah.
But yes,
Here I Stand
is definitely doing it.
Absolutely
and
fantastic.
Then, the biggest box of the year so far, outside of Frosthaven, Europa Universalis, The Price of Power. This is from EJ Games. Massive, big, huge. I don't even know what you would call this, like a Civ builder.
Well, I think it's a 4X game.
Really?
I think there's exploration, extermination, exploitation, and what's the other one? Expansion.
Expansion, yeah.
So you're trying to build your empire. And it's historical, right? You're one of the great cultures, and I've heard it described as Here I Stand without the card-driven mechanic as much.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see how this is. I'm
very curious. It looks great. I've heard the rules are very deep and very detailed.
And I brought this tonight because I'm going to leave it with you.
So I can have a look through. So you can
have a look at the rules. Now, it's organized. I've organized everything.
I wonder if there's some learning videos. Because a lot of companies, they pay people to be like, here's how to play.
But I feel like this is
a see if they did that.
Big game that we need to better understand, or people are going to get pissed.
Yeah, I want to have some knowledge going into it, so I'm not because otherwise this is a 2-hour learn at least.
And we're going to play, I think, the 5-player version.
This
6 player. We're going to play the 6 player.
I think we got 6 for it.
I've got the big map. I'm very excited about
and
this.
And we will use the big map.
We will.
But yes.
But it's all organized. It's all. I took about 2 hours.
Big old bad boy in there.
But it's beautiful.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah. Legendary Encounters actually has. I think that's their name on YouTube. They have a kind of interesting video.
Oh, the Legendary Tactics?
There you go, Legendary Tactics Encounter. I'm thinking of aliens. But they have a video where they talk about the different factions and what it is, and there's some diplomacy in it, and which is they consider it a 5X. They gave it a word, but it seemed like a reach for me. But I get what he was trying to say. But looking forward to both of those. And then we're also playing, I think, something else on Thursday night.
Yeah, have we made a decision on that?
We didn't. I'd like to do Corrupt Bargain.
Oh, okay,
again,
sure. Yeah, we didn't get to that yet.
What was the other one we had talked about playing? Because that's something you, me, and Mike could do that night for a couple hours.
Well, and someone else might be there, so we might do it 4, because that can do up to 4.
Yeah. What was the... I can't remember the other game, but we need to play those. I think we need to play those. We'll see. But yeah, Basement Con, we're going on a Thursday. We're leaving pretty early. We're going to go to a miniature market and probably drop $100 or $200 on stupid games we don't need. And then we're going to go play games with our friends for the whole weekend. And
we spent a lot of money at miniature market last year, and I think I played a sum total of 0 of the games that we bought.
I've opened them all up, and that's it. Look through them.
But we bought a lot of the dig and dent shelf, and it's impossible to pass some of the deals up that are there.
Yeah,
because you're like, ooh.
I don't want to be that
no
splurgy.
But that was
maybe one game.
It's a great place if you've not been there. It's a really good store to go to.
Well, and Brian Finger is a guy that we met there.
Yes.
Brian, I'll let you know. I'd love to meet you up and maybe even play a game that afternoon or something while we're there. But we'll see. So yeah, those are a couple things we're playing.
We're definitely going to play Downfall of the Third Reich from Do It Games.
I actually enjoyed this one. We already played it, but it's interesting. There's some issues. There's some challenges.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a grand strategic 2-player or 3-player European theater World War II game. Right, it tries to be simple and easy to play, and it is those things. But
great production.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a beautiful game.
Game out of Spain. So there's a big review of this coming up at some point.
In months.
In like 3 months' time.
Yeah. But this is actually going to be our first, I think, 2023 published.
Is that the first one we played this year?
Yep, I think that was the first one that well, I played Archies War solo, so that was my first, but that's going to be that's our first.
That's together. Pretty nice. But yeah, that one's on the docket.
I'm going to go ahead and hit this one while you're kind of scrambling for the other ones. So I pre-ordered this like 6 months ago. So this is Stalingrad Advance to the Volga, 1942 from Revolution Games. This is an area impulse game. It says area movement series, which I'm not sure.
But it's Mike Ranella,
right?
So it's his area impulse games that you're familiar with, right? If you've played a Mike Ranella game, it's that system.
And I've already started pushing the counters around, but I haven't played it yet. It's going to be fun.
How have you seen? What's the solitaire bot like? Is it a slow chart? Is it a deck of cards?
Nope, it's a static bot. They're flipped over counters, and they're random. So you attack those, and you flip them over, and you have to defeat them, and you have to be very aggressive. They do not attack you. They do not come after you.
Do they move?
They are defensive.
So this is just you charging through what's there.
Yep. Okay. And trying to control like 40 areas on the map, and it's supposed to be a real challenge.
So it's called Advance to the Volga. This is almost like it's a racing game. You got to race to the end. You've
got a certain amount of turns to do it, and you got to kick some
stuff.
butt.
Okay.
And it's about using your assets, right? You've got units, you have some minimal reinforcements, you also have some artillery, air operation counters, and you got to be judicious with those. Okay. But you got to use them when you come up against units that deserve them. And it looks really interesting. I've clipped it. It's beautiful.
And it comes in a box.
Yeah, and it was like $50. It wasn't that much. So anyway, it's a beautiful game. Mounted map board.
Great. So, it's mounted?
Mounted, okay, yeah. Nice. It's beautiful.
And so, one that I would love to get to is Inferno.
I think we'll get to it this month.
I feel we've got the 1 week of Basement Con and then some solo stuff. I'm like, we can get to this.
Next weekend.
I would love to start doing Inferno. So this is the number 3 in the Levian Campaign series. This is... I don't know how to pronounce it.
Guelphs and Ghibellines.
Ghibellines.
Mm-hmm. Vie for Tuscany.
Yeah. a conflict that I know nothing about.
Right.
So this will be lots of reading in the playbook and designer notes to kind of learn some stuff. But, you know, I like the series, and I want to kind of set this out and play more of it.
This is a game.
Before.
This is a game I do want to try. Let's do the intro scenario, and then let's try to play a bigger scenario once we get it.
Yeah.
This has treachery cards too, so you can cause some of the knights to kind of come over to your side. Very interested and very intrigued by how that will work out.
Yeah. So this one
one's
says,
by Enrico Ackerby.
This one says 1 to 2 player. Do the other ones say that as well?
I don't know.
Can we have a quick look?
At Nevsky?
I don't know if it does. It just says that
for our
because you
topic.
could.
Yeah, it says 1 to 2.
Okay.
It doesn't have a solo bot, but you can play two-handed.
Yeah.
The hidden information really is. There is no hidden information.
Well, in theory, you're supposed to play behind that screen.
Well, and your
like,
command deck, you set your command deck up.
But that's the easy bit, because I can never remember those. To me,
Yeah.
it's those the dual use event cards and improvement cards.
Sure. That's where some of the information.
Okay, I might consider doing that on this. But yeah, would love to get this kind of at least started this month, because it looks cool. Like, who doesn't look at that freaking siege? That's awesome. Those siege towers and the big fire going on.
The art is fantastic on those.
That looks great.
I talked about this the other night, the Levian Campaign series, when we were on the War Room. Which is a talk show kind of hosted by 3 or 4 different people, Rough Swordsman, ID Jester, and Tony's Board Life.
Yep.
And I got the opportunity to talk about Levian Campaign and what I love about the system and the fact that it's a sandbox, that I have no idea what I'm doing, but that I love doing what I'm doing, even though I don't understand overall what I'm trying to do. And I think I felt a lot of that way with the Coin series at first. Now we've played every volume multiple times, and I feel a lot more comfortable with it and know what I'm doing.
The more I play it, the more I feel comfortable with what I'm trying or supposed to do.
Right.
I kind of know how to do some things, but I'm like, what's my goal?
Yeah.
and some of these games are very wide open.
Yeah.
That's
very true.
Kind of like you just do a bunch of stuff and get some point. Okay.
Yeah.
But like, what am I supposed to do?
Well, I felt like in Alma Ravid, it with the Taifa politics, it kind of sets some of your parameters a little bit.
Yeah, you're like, I'm trying to focus to defeat this region. Cool.
Yeah.
That's my campaign.
Nevsky, I felt like I was just lost.
Yeah, it was just like, I'm gonna go here.
I'm gonna run here. I'm gonna run here. Yeah. Anyway, great system. I look forward to that.
Yes.
And Enrico Ackerby is the designer, and there's an interview on our blog if you're interested. Did you know we have a blog?
A blog? What's the web address? I don't know.
A written blog.
I haven't been on for years.
Theplayersaid.com.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I should go there sometime.
It's our genesis. And I'm telling you what, whoever is writing for it is really doing a hell of a job.
Well, kudos to them, because it's not me.
I gotta figure out who that is. But
so the last game that I think we're going to play this month.
No, I not think we're going to play.
No, yeah.
We're definitely going to play this.
Is
at least 1 or 2 times.
At least, is Warfighter, World War II, Mediterranean, and North Africa. Warfighter World War II is one of my favorite games of all time.
I would agree.
It is pulpy, cooperative fun, right? Like, it's just enjoyable.
Yep.
Right? Sometimes you play the undead zombie Nazis module, and it's like,
it's fun.
This is stupid fun, and it's great. I'm going to throw my holy hand grenade, and everyone's going to die.
Yep.
Or you can play it straight up, and there's all sorts of different expansions. This is all the new stuff that just came out. So they came out with the Mediterranean box, which is Americans and Germans in Italy, I believe.
Okay.
And then the North Africa box is British. It's 8th Army and Africa Corps.
So Desert Rats and DAC.
And then there's all the little mini expansions for like more Desert Rats.
So I did just see this one. This is Raid on Saint Nazaire. This is made for the World War II base game. This has nothing to do with these expansions.
That might be true, but I also think that is a new expansion that was released with this cycle.
Okay.
Now, yeah, you're going to use that with...
But like this one is Battle of Bar Hakim. You need to have the North Africa core game So it says that on some of these.
Yeah, does this say you need...
Have to have the Med Corps
you need
game.
Europe on this.
Yep, Med Corps game.
But like it's Desert Rats vehicles.
North Africa, yeah.
Africa Corps vehicles. Battle of Rimini, Mediterranean, right? So a lot of the new stuff that just came out is that.
And if you don't know anything about Warfighter, it's a card-based game.
Yes.
Everything is card-based, from your units to their weapons to their abilities, and the enemies get put out on a board. And then you use your skills, abilities, weapons to defeat those objectives and move on. It's a blast. Your cards become your currency, right? You have to spend some of those cards to move, and
it's so good.
I just love it. We've played Pacific, we've played Europe, and had a blast.
We played that the Spec Ops Modern one.
Oh yeah, and that one wasn't my favorite, but it was still interesting.
I really enjoyed that because it was the stealth one. It was like you had to track how much noise you were making. That was fun.
And I was terrible at not making noise. But
yeah, so
this is the Battle of Crete.
This is a lot of Italian troops. So this is probably Italians and Americans. And the other
here
ones.
I'll show you what so this is like a pack inside the game, but you can see here.
And it's just like 5 of those.
This is gear, right? This is a gear card that you would use. And some of these are weapons, and I mean, it's just so fantastic.
Into an unboxing.
You need to do an unboxing.
Oh, I'm gonna.
The thing I also like about the game is you roll dice.
Yes.
And typically you're going to roll 1, 2, or 3 dice depending on if you're using
how good you are,
a grenade with a skill, or if you're using a Tommy gun with spray fire on. You're going to roll, say, 2 or 3 10-siders, but you're also going to roll a 6-sider that has to penetrate.
Yeah.
And
you got to hit and defeat cover.
Yeah, so it's like you roll it all at the same time. Oh, I hit. Ah, crap, I didn't penetrate.
Or you penetrate, but you don't hit. Same results. And you need both to succeed for you to start killing guys and laying wounds.
And I think if you hit but don't penetrate, you suppress them.
Yes.
So it's just so cool. It's fun. It's a linear progression.
It's this little side-scrolling game. Yep. It's so enjoyable.
I actually think my favorite is World War II. I enjoyed that one a lot. The Pacific one is great too.
I loved the Pacific.
Oh, the Pacific! One. But I thought that World War II one was just fun.
Well, and
they're both great.
And the great part is you don't got to buy all the expansions.
You do not. Just buy one of the boxes. There's enough in there to keep you busy.
Yes, but then if you want to, you don't got to buy all the expansions. You can
buy one.
You probably will, but you buy 1 or 2. And there are some ones which are amazing.
Yeah.
So there was a beach landing one. Because that gives you all these beach landing scenarios. Amazing. There was one where it was fortifications.
Yep.
So you have to go and run up and destroy a bunker at the end.
Yep.
That thing is going to murder you before you get there, but when you get there, you've got to have demo charges.
Yep.
It doesn't take much to significantly add to and change what it is that you can and can't do. So, and
so cool.
Who doesn't want the Gurkhas box? Come on, man.
I mean,
I love Warfighter. And
it's great.
I'll never apologize for it.
Nope.
It is not a particularly serious war game, but it is unmitigated fun.
And I guarantee we'll play each of these probably 10 times a piece.
I've got the huge foot locker.
I've got it too.
Stuff all in there. It's just so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very excited. So we have a lot of stuff to play. I mean,
we really do.
So what's next? We got to talk about our Kickstarters.
Yeah, what's on Kickstarter?
All right. So if you don't know, Wargame Watch on the blog is a great source for information like this.
And remember, that blog, as we have discovered today, together, is theplayersaid.com.
Yeah, if you didn't know. I mean, come on. There used to be 2 people writing on the blog, but it's now down to 1, and it's okay. It's all right. It's a part of what we do. That other person just doesn't understand that. All right, so the Kickstarter and GameFound stuff that I'm aware of this month.
Pre-order each stuff.
The first one is I'm sorry.
Song of War.
Yeah, is it Kickstarter?
Yes, it says Kickstarter right there.
Let me double check. Yeah, it's Kickstarter. Okay. So, Song for War Mediterranean Theater is really it's a Axis and Allies style war game. And we saw a prototype last year at Buckeye Game Fest. We met Seth and Chris. Right, Chris? Am I getting the name right?
And is it Invictus Rex?
Victor Rex Games. But But yeah, it's a really
looks
great
great.
looking game. Zilla Blitz has done a lot of videos on it if you want to go check out his channel. But it's up, and I think it runs for about 20 or 30 more days. They have a very ambitious funding goal, though. They want 50,000 because it's got a lot of parts and pieces.
And isn't it the token? Is it little wooden pieces?
Some of them are wooden, yeah. So it's a nicely produced game, but
if they can hit that, it'll be beautiful.
yeah, I think in the first 3 or 4 days they've hit about 10,500, so they're getting there.
Yeah.
So that's one. Another one I know you'll be very excited about is 85 Afghanistan Graveyard of Empires from Flying Pig Games. It's currently on Kickstarter.
I'm like, hype train has left the station. I am fully on board. This is like the same system as 65, which we played a very long time ago.
Very long time ago, 7 years ago.
I loved that game, and the only thing that I struggled with was the rulebook wasn't my favorite, but Flying Pigs has come a long way with their rules since then, and I know that this is going to be really tight, and the solo module that comes, that is an add-on to it. If you're into solo gaming, this will be well worth it.
Yeah. So anyway, great looking game. It's actually funded already, and it still has a couple of weeks left.
Get in that, because Flying Pig games, they will go out of stock, and it'll be a while before it comes back, or it might never come back. You got to get it now.
The third game, actually, it's ended on Kickstarter, but they'll probably do a backer kit. Prelude to Revolution from Compass Games. This is the same system as Prelude to Rebellion,
which was a really good system.
Marco Putri. I can't remember the name. Canadian name.
Yeah.
You have it up there. Marco Putre or Poultre?
Marco Putre.
Putre, yeah. French-Canadian, I believe. Great area control, card-driven game.
Yeah.
This one's about the Russian Revolution. So Mike Wilner is the designer. We already showed you The Hunt from Salt and Pepper Games. That one's coming to GameFound on March 15th.
Yep.
If you haven't heard about this one, get on the website, do some research.
Well, and in a couple of days, you'll see a full preview of that on our channel as well.
And I have a first impressions post done. Anyway, so those are, and there's one other Kickstarter that I wasn't aware of when I put this list together, and that's Flying Tigers.
Flying Tigers leader
Dan
from
Verson's
DBG,
game.
yeah.
So that deals with the Flying Tigers in World War II.
Yep.
And it's one of those leader style games.
It looks very cool. It's the air leader style games.
Yeah.
They're looking to, add, they got Flying Tigers, but they're also adding in like the New Zealand Kiwi fighters as well.
Okay.
All the different add-ons and options that you can get with it. It just looks like a fun game. I like those little air leader games. But it's the World War II system it's the same with Corsair and Zero Leader, where there's all the dogfighting, it's those same mechanics rather than the more modern jet ones, which are a bit more simple.
So that's Kickstarter. That's what I know on Kickstarter.
I'm pretty sure that's everything, right?
I think so.
Oh, other than we had a Kickstarter delivered and it was Frosthaven.
Yeah, right. I actually got, I didn't tell you this.
Oh, no.
51st State.
The
Ultimate Edition.
The Ultimate Edition?
It arrived today.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you
it
did
showed
tell
up
me that.
at my house, and I threw it on the counter, and I'll mess around with it.
Is it big?
It's very big.
Is it heavy? Lots of wood in it?
Lots of cards, lots of wood. It's got every expansion they've ever made. So I think the box is like this big.
Zhuzh up the artwork on it?
It's
okay.
It's really good. I will say this though, I liked the old style art. I liked the old style art better than I think the new style art.
I'm gonna have. I haven't seen the new one, so I'm gonna have a look at that.
But anyway, I've got it. I will probably rifle through it over the next couple of weeks, and I would love to at least play it once or twice. I enjoyed that game. In fact, that was one of the first games that I went out, did all the research on when we started, and said, I'm going to buy that game. And I did.
Yeah,
I bought it and really enjoyed it. So anyway, card game about a post-apocalyptic
a little tableau building, all sorts of stuff.
Lots of abilities, great little pieces. So yeah, that arrived today. So anyway.
Awesome. So that's... I'm sure there is a ton of other stuff out there, Wargames-wise, on pre-orders and Kickstarters and GameFound. So go and have fun going researching a lot of that. But now, a word from our sponsor, who we're very grateful for, Noble Knight Games.
So
very
brings
appreciative
a tear to
of
my
them.
eye every time.
I love it. I love it.
Actually, their commercials are hilarious.
Yeah.
I think they're really funny.
But yeah, we're very grateful for them for sponsoring the channel and for supporting the wargaming hobby the way that they do. I mean, I regularly get emails of like, hey, this is back in stock.
Yeah.
My wish list for them is
And
longer than I care.
We have bought several games or traded in for several games from them that it's hard to find, right?
Yeah.
I got Maria and Frederick from them, and I can't wait to play those at Buckeye Game Fest. We're going to take them along and see if we can get those played. But great company. They have a lot of, they have everything. Dice, Magic, the Gathering cards, board games, war games.
Like miniatures,
they've got
tabletop
everything.
stuff, a whole bunch of
Crazy.
stuff that going on there. So check them out, but appreciate them for supporting us. So we will move on to the main topic.
The main event.
Of our monthly debrief this month.
Yeah.
Now, this topic was suggested to us by Mark, who's one of our patrons. And if you would like to have the opportunity to suggest topics for us to pick from, you can do that if you are at the $5 Patreon level.
It's just $5.
It is. It's just $5.
$5.
And you can suggest a topic. We're very grateful for all of our patrons. They really help to keep the channel going.
Yeah.
We have an excellent community on the Slack channel that you get an invite to no matter what level you're at. Lots of good discussion that goes on. Really helpful, nice people on there. And people, I'm always stunned at the very eclectic variety of games that people like to play. It's not like we play a lot of war games. There's a lot of people who play a lot of other different games as well. And so some of the discussions that happen are really, really neat. And it's eye-opening of like, oh, people play this and like this and this. It's really cool. So yeah, check that out if you're interested. But appreciate everyone for your continued support of this channel. You guys are the bomb. So the topic this month was suggested by Mark. And it was, let's have a discussion about beautiful war games. The war games that we consider to be very eye-catching and really nice pieces to look at.
And there's a ton, right? I think this topic, I thought of like 15 or 20 games immediately. But
there's also a lot which aren't.
I know. We've played a lot of ugly games.
Or functional, as I like to call them.
Sometimes a game just doesn't have the beautiful art that some others do, but it's
like,
still a good game.
There's a time and a place for some kinds of artwork and some kinds of functionality of what kind of game it's trying to be.
Yeah.
But I think as the years go on and as, the hobby gets bigger and broader, I think people are a bit more demanding. We can have nice art, so why not? So we're going to talk today about...
Well, you're already charging me $90. Just
make it look nice.
Make it look nice, right?
So
and some publishers do a better job than others. I'm going to say it, right?
Yeah.
But
we
I
don't
think
know who that is.
The smattering of games we have, I think, comes from a lot of different publishers that have put some time and effort into the boards and the box art and the cards and the components.
Yeah.
And, anyway, beautiful war games.
Yeah, so we're talking about some games which are very, very, very nice to look at. So I almost don't know where to start because we've got a lot of games here.
Sure.
So,
well, I can start here.
Sure.
I'll go ahead and start here.
I'm going to pull this up as well at the same time.
So the Levian Campaign series from GMT Games, it's a game that is based in medieval time period, like 1000 to like 1300, right?
Yep.
Give or take. And it uses wooden bits. Those bits represent everything from knights to cavalry to peasants to footmen and everything, bowmen, etc. And it also uses counters. There are counters for the provender, the loot, the spoils, the food, there's even carts and sleds and horses and blah, blah, blah. But the level of detail that goes into the production of these games, I think it's probably because of Volko, right?
I'm sure he was a driving force behind
I think he has been very successful with the coin series. He decided to start this new series, and I think one of his demands, just like the coin series, was we got to put time into the art, the boards, the pieces, the cards. So this is a look at Inferno, the newest game that we already talked about.
Just like
it's gorgeous.
The detailing on the board of the various different crests and heralds. There's just like a guy walking through the map. just little pieces that is a flavor of history.
It's in the style
Yes.
of that period. That's the art of the period.
And it's like on all the cards, the wooden pieces are all different colors and shapes, and you play with those. They both look nice, but also are highly functional for you to assess exactly what forces you've got, and it works really, really well.
So I did bring up Nevsky. Now, I like this cover. I'm probably in the minority. I don't think you like it that much.
It's not my favorite cover.
Yeah. I enjoy it because it took a risk.
And I appreciate
think a lot of times in war games, we see the old Teutonic Knight standing up there with a sword, and that's what you get. Here, they went out on a limb, right? Now, some people have said, what's this disembodied floating head up there?
Is it some kind of medieval fever dream?
Well, that's Nevsky, right? Overlooking this area. But the thing, Chechu Nieto did the board specifically for this game.
The boardiness is...
It's gorgeous. I did a lot of research on what he put into it, because I wrote a post on this on the blog. One of the things he used, the national flower of Russia is the chamomile. It's a white flower, almost like a symbol Muna from Lord of the Rings. That kind of little flower. That flower is all over the board. It outlines things, and it's just like that kind of little touch that makes these kind of games stand out. And I found it to be awesome to kind of do the research and look at those things and say, ooh, that looks really cool. Or, ooh, he's done these little footpaths that go through you can't travel on that, but he's showing...
But it's just,
through the landscape. And it's just fantastic.
Extra little details make a big difference.
But a series like this, big, grand...
Almoravid is also stunning as well.
Oh, it's I think to be in the series, it's going to have stunning art. I don't think there's going to be any of those that aren't. And there's like 3,500 of them in design and development.
Yes.
But I think this is a great example by GMT of what art can look like in a game, and the components can be like. And you can spend $75 on this and feel like, oh, I really got something.
Did you bring Liberty or Death?
I did not.
So that's also an earlier example. I think that is one of the nicest maps that they have ever done.
Terry Leeds did that map.
But I think when that map happened, that was like, this is a bit of a watershed moment for GMT here.
Yeah.
Like, they'd probably done some other nice ones, maybe. But that was like, oh, look what we can do.
Well, and that board specifically... all the highlights of the terrain and the woods and the hills and the rivers and the water. Terry Leeds put effort into those things.
Terry Leeds is an incredible...
He is. He's very, very good.
Cartographer.
He also did, another one I have of his here.
You got 1775.
1776. Or I'm sorry.
1777.
77, yeah. And I think Terry is he's a mad genius. Now, this map is a different style. This board is a very different style.
No, but it is also very nice.
Oh, it's very nice.
This is
I'm not going to open it all, but I wanted to... Here's just a look at... Let me make sure it's right side up.
It is.
So here... Well, I got to open that up a little bit.
Open it up.
You can get a look at that. This is almost photographic quality. And it's art.
Yeah,
he drew this on there.
It's all digital vector stuff.
And it just looks so amazing. The terrain is terrain. These mountains in upstate New York are utterly treacherous, and they come off like that on the board. And when you see this kind of thing, you realize, oh, that's why they had to go down this valley. Because they couldn't go over the mountain. Yeah. And it's just so cool.
In another game, it would be like a light brown and a dark brown and a black, showing you just like layers of terrain, and it would be useless.
Which is fine, right? That's functional. This takes it to another level.
Yeah.
And he really, I found when we played this 4 or 5 years ago, we played this all day long. I had a blast with it. Part of it was because I felt drawn into it.
It's easy to play with something that looks nice.
Yes.
Right?
And the counters were great. I mean, they're little counters, but the counters are great. The rules are great.
This is a magazine game.
It's a magazine game.
This is a magazine game, and it's got one of the nicest maps I've ever played on.
And I actually think that Decision Games decided to make this a box game, and I think the second edition will be in a box. but they
love that.
they haven't brought it out yet. But
You could mount that map.
yeah, this is in Strategy and Tactics, campaign of 1777 by Harold Buchanan, Liberty or Death, the same artist, the same period, and really gives a similar feel. When I play those games, I
Even
feel
though it's a very different style.
Absolutely, but I feel teleported back in a time machine, and that's why one of the reasons I love playing those games. So anyway, that's another, and it's not just the boards, it's counters can be made so beautiful.
Speaking of counters,
And boards.
Yeah, a most fearful sacrifice. So this has everything, right? Great cover art, great counters, great board. It's impossible for me to get the boards out and show you them because they're so big, but they are Rick Barber maps. And
The late Rick Barber.
if you've played a Rick Barber map, you know it.
We've got it.
Yeah, we can show
At least one.
You just can't unwrap it all, sadly.
Yeah,
it's so huge.
These are really, but yeah, what do I got here on the bottom?
This is the ode to Rick Barber,
the ode to
which
Rick Barber.
we really appreciate that from Flying Pig.
So here's just an example, right, of this is the Battle of Gettysburg, the 3 days of Gettysburg. This is a very Rick Barber specific style.
Yes, and especially his he uses this style of his typeface on all of his, well, on as many maps as I've ever seen anyway.
And he has a dozen or so American Civil War maps. Herman Luttman, this is Herman Luttman's design. Herman's worked with him, I think, 2 or 3 times. But he had a lot to say about the board and how it changed the game. But it's gorgeous. And the counters, the art on the cards is fantastic.
Yeah.
The layout is amazing.
The counters are big, and they've got really good detailed, like, it's not just some kind of silhouette or like an infantry NATO symbol on them. It's like,
very nicely
guys
done.
on them. Really, really, really nice game.
And this was my game of the year for 2022.
Linen finished cards.
Yep.
Yeah, this was an absolute corker to play with.
Only thing wrong with this one was the play aids were very, very small.
No, but they've corrected that in the second edition.
Right.
And if you can get a hold of the second edition, you should do that immediately.
I think you can download them off of
I'm sure you
Wargame
can.
Geek.
But this was a game that went out of print very quickly.
But that second edition is available. It's about $110.
And it is worth every dollar of that.
Because these maps are just absolutely huge. We can't even play the entire game.
No.
Because we don't have a table that will hold all the maps.
But this is an absolutely stunning achievement, and it is beautiful to play and to play with as well.
I just think that art, I've said this many, many times, I can play any game.
Yeah, we have.
And we have. But when I play a game that's both beautiful and fun to play and well designed, it's like the triumvirate, and it makes the experience so amazing, and really brings out the true.
Because a game can be both of all of those things.
It can.
It technically only needs to be maybe 2 of them,
right?
But it can be all
three.
three.
Be all 3.
And frankly, there's no reason to copy.
So I bring this one up. Nils Johansson is a guy that we've played many of his games now. In fact, I've got 2 or 3 of them here on the table. This is a folio-style game from a company called High Flying Dice Games. This is one of the entries, I think there's 5 volumes, in the Battles of the Old Northwest series, and this one's called Kekeonga. It's a battle about the young United States fighting the natives in the frontier, and it's phenomenal. The board and you can see the art. I mean, the art on the cover page now
has a very distinct style to it. So do the pieces. So does the board.
And I think this was one of Nils's kind of first couple of games.
I love it.
But here's a look at the map. Right. Look at the detail. You can see the detail of This is a river basin, so some of the trees are dead. You can see that. The different styles of terrain, very well done. The aids to play the game, the tracks, the different entry points, it's all on there. The counters are absolutely gorgeous.
Look at some of the counters in there. Just the art style is cohesive between the maps and the counters. The games themselves are what I would call unpretentious.
They're pretty simple.
They're straightforward. They use a very small rule set. And they're not overly complicated. They don't try to be, but they're stunning to play with, and it makes it a joy.
Yep.
It really does.
And we've played a couple of these and really enjoyed
This
all
one
of them.
was just so thematic as well.
The other thing I really like about this, and you can see it on there, is the cornfields. They are just so so phenomenal.
That's like the story of this game.
Yeah.
I will always remember this game for the cornfields and Richard III for the
potato gambit.
Speaking of Richard III, this is something that I want to talk about. I love Richard III. This is a Columbia block war game. If you've played any of Columbia's block war games, you know how to play it. But this one, I don't know. I just have a penchant for good-looking games.
Yeah.
And this one we had very early on. And
This is something we played like in 2017.
yeah. Like, this is the map, and it's printed on card. And it's, you know...
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's nice. I love the heraldry and the crests on it, right? That's simple. But the blocks...
The big chunky stickered blocks, they're just
blocks.
phenomenal.
It's the big blocks. And again, it's the detail on those. To me, they're just really nice to play with.
Here's the card art. I mean, they're just phenomenal. And this is... it's a hidden block information game, so you never know who you're attacking and what you're attacking.
And it's really simple stuff, right?
Yeah.
If you look at the little block, you got the nice little crest on it, but then it's inside a square which has a drop shadow to it. So it adds a little bit of depth. There's some texturing on the background of the stickers. Little nuances like that where it's not just like, it's green with a number 5 on it, which some games do that, and it's like, cool.
Yeah.
But we can do just a little bit more in our graphic design, and it takes a game that has a really easy rule set, and you're never going to see anyone who's going to be like, this is a horrible game.
Yeah. We've played multiple Columbia games, and I think they're all very well done.
Yes. But I do think that that's their nicest looking. I think.
No doubt. I love that game, frankly. I mean, I've got some more here. We talked about Nils Johansson. I'll talk about him in a little bit. Here's another GMT game, Holland 44. This is as cool a war game as you're ever going to play. Airborne.
This is the 10 out of 10 game.
Yeah, the game is amazing. But Antonis Karatis, the guy's just so talented. I mean, look at those Shermans. I mean, it's just so amazing. You've got some of his Wild Blue Yonder.
He does this. He does. If you see like amazing detailed front covers on GMT, it's a good guess that it's him.
So here's the map, and this is a paper map. You can get a full mounted map, but if you know anything about Holland, right, and the struggles that they had with the bridge too far there in World War II, there's a thing called polder, and it's a swampy, boggy terrain that you just can't really get across. And when you look at what polder looks like online, and you look at the hex here, it's almost identical, but obviously not as lifelike. But I feel like Mark Simonich, right, designed this map. He did the art, and I just think it's so gorgeous. The trees are great. The roads are so clear. The cities, the bridges. This game is just a joy to look at.
So this is a game that's a great intersection of very, very, very functional. Like this, it's very easy to look at and read and see it without being bland.
Right.
Because
very playable beauty here, I think.
Yeah, it's still
the counters are fairly standard.
It's a very Simonich style still.
Yep.
But it's not. I don't know. There's something in this that's. I compare that to something like Stalingrad 42, right?
Yeah.
And this just, I don't know if the color palettes that he chose in this, it's just a bit nicer.
I would not say Stalingrad 42 gives the same impression that this one does.
This is the nicest of his 40X
map.
series, though.
This is just so beautiful. I love that board. I mean, I've got some others that we
got all sorts. We're going all night, folks. We have This War Without an Enemy. Now, you might have to, I swear the theme of English games is going to end. So this is an English Civil War game. The other one was Wars of the Roses, but the map itself covers a similar geographical area. So this is designed by Scott Moore and put out by Nuts Publishing. This is it uses a similar system to the Columbia block system, you know, but this is a bit more of a beefy, a bit more meatier game. But I've got a spare sticker sheet, and I'm going to show you these because they're
gorgeous,
absolutely fantastic from an artwork standpoint. I love those. Stickering these, an absolute pleasure. This map, I actually have the prototype one that we played hung up on the wall. But this is the mounted version. It's kind of big, so I don't know if I can show you.
I can't remember the artist for that one, but it's...
yeah, we'll have to look it up.
I want to say Nicholas Roblin. Trying to remember.
This is one of those awful boards that opens really awkwardly.
To open, but it's so
it's like a snake-shaped board.
Yep.
But yeah, the board has, again, just is beautiful detail to it. It's not just like blue and green, right?
Yeah.
You have like the wave effects around the edges of the coasts.
Yep.
It's just got some nuance to it. And then it has the cool stylized cities and the colorization for the
Actually, the cities I really like.
Yeah, they got great detail on them.
I also really like the boundaries at the first between the Royalist and the, what's the other name? I'm trying, Lancaster?
The Royalists and the Roundheads.
Okay, whatever. I don't really know. But the colors kind of set out where their territories are, and then the colors of the cities kind of coordinate with their loyalty.
Yeah.
And it's really very
London,
cool.
It's orange.
I just think it's very well done.
And
a great connection.
And again, this reminds me in a way of something like Liberty or Death, where you just look at the little turn tracks, and the tracks, even those have just an extra little level of
like a scepter,
flair and detail. Yeah, it's a royal scepter, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a little attention to details that it could have been boxes, it could have been squares with numbers in it,
and it would have been good enough.
But let's take it that extra level, and they did. And I love Nuts for doing it. The cards are just stunning as well.
I actually feel like Nuts Publishing's games are very well done. They do a really good job with their games.
And that's the thesis of theirs going forwards. They're really trying to elevate their games to a higher level with that.
Here, I want to talk about two other games from Nils Johansson. We'll just put up both these. So, very different games. This is a two-player game, Maori Wars, the New Zealand Land Wars, designed by John Paniski and published by Legion Wargames. And then this one is Lanzareth Ridge, designed by the great David Thompson, and also illustrated by Nils.
You can tell this is my copy of Lanzareth Ridge because the back of the box is upside down.
It's ridiculous. my box is right side up. But one of the things I find fascinating, I'm going to open the map here, and the map on Lanzareth Ridge is just utterly...
Also,
it actually makes me sick. It's so good.
The components in here are great.
And you have a great organizer.
This is an organizer from Cube for Me, so check that out. They're a very generous company and gave us that. That was really nice of them.
So I'm going to show you this part of the map, right? But here is a look at New Zealand, and it's just such a cool looking map. I love the colors. And if you could see close up, there's a pattern, almost like a stippling. Here,
it is a very period piece.
It looks like a map, but these are his fingerprints.
Really?
So what he did, if you see that, that's his fingerprint.
Now you've said that, I can absolutely see it.
He put black ink on it and just did that in a different pattern.
Wow.
And then he digitized those and used those as the background over a majority of the board.
I would never have known that.
And he told me that, and I was like, I can see it now. But there's so much depth here. And
Maori Wars has the nicest war game map I think I've ever played.
And this game is really fun.
Yep.
But the counters are also great. They're very simple. I just really like the job that Nils and the design team did on that.
And I'm glad you brought that out. Because we're going to put it side by side. Well, not really.
Oh, I can.
But with Lanzareth Ridge, just to show you the stark contrast in the range of his styles.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Like, looks like a different
product. What you have is a beautiful, delicate, detailed period piece, right?
Can you see much of that? Not really.
It's hard to, because it's got a very muted palette on it.
It's just, you can see similarities there, but it's just...
But his style, a totally different style.
It's so great. Yep.
You look at this map, and you feel cold.
Yep.
It's cold, and it's wintry.
There
is a layer of perspective in this map, because it's tactical. The sun is setting, and so there are long shadows. It's not white. It's this kind of dark or I don't know, there's like yellowy orange color because
Yeah.
it's the setting sun. It's great.
Yeah.
This is an achievement almost.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is not a map. This is artistry has gone into it, and it's really, really neat.
And here's what I would say about the counters for this game. So if you've played much of Dan Person games, some of their counters are pretty basic, right? If you pull those counters out, they are not basic. These have been taken to the next level. They have incorporated historical photographs with some techniques to wash them out and colorize them, and they just really look great. The other 3 volumes of the Valiant Defense series have really built up to the quality that is seen here. And I think the future volumes will hopefully have this same quality.
They have set themselves an extremely high standard, and I desperately hope that they stick with this level.
And the cards are just so nice. Look at the art on the card. We didn't even show. But these are the assault cards that you're going to draw. Look at that.
Like,
I mean, just look at that.
yeah.
Here's that same guy. Here's an MG42. I mean, it's just phenomenal. There's an MG4. There's another assault counter. There's a Fallschirmjäger. It's crazy, the level of detail that this, and I've played this game 7 or 8 times now. One of my favorite games of last year, definitely my favorite solo game of last year. I love David Thompson. I think everything he puts out is amazing, and I don't know, I just love that game.
Really, really, really good.
So another artist I wanted to talk about a little bit. Now, you might look at this and go, not great. I think this is beautiful. This is a historic game. Stilicho, Last of the Romans from Hollandspiel, designed by Robert Dulesky. This map was put together by Mark Mahaffey. Mark has done several good, and I talk about the map. The best part is the map. The card art, though, look at that. I mean,
wow.
It's phenomenal.
And the other sides of those as well.
It's just great. Here is the enemy cardboard where you're going to stack enemies up. Look at that. That's the court of Emperor Heronius. I think it's taken from a painting from antiquity, but that's just such a level of detail on such a small component that is just phenomenal in my mind.
Card artwork.
Well, and here's the Emperor. Those are the barbarian cards. These are the Roman cards. But the board, so here's the map. It's a small paper map.
It smells good.
Yeah, it has that Hollandspiel smell.
Got that smell.
Blue Panther smell. It's kind of a States of Siege style looking map, but the detail, you can see the mountains, you can see the hills, the water looks amazing. You can see the detail on the cities with the battlements. Just a really well done map. I actually really like the title. I think it looks fantastic. And then amazingly, around here, there's like 120 different shields of barbarian tribes in this area. And I just think that's fantastic that Mark put those around that. A gorgeous map, a gorgeous little game, a solo-only game that I love and really have enjoyed. So,
and it would have been very easy to make that map much more functional and much less nice, right?
And I think some of their previous games have been that, more functional.
But that
this one, they picked it up.
Again,
Yep.
just it makes it that much better.
Yep. This is probably my favorite in the series, and I would recommend this to anybody. All right. Got another one? Ooh,
I've got
that's a good one.
Battle Hymn Volume 1.
Yeah.
This was one of
Not a Rick Barber map.
No.
I'm trying to remember the guy's name, but
that is a great question.
it's actually written on that.
This is one of my all-time favorite maps.
And we did not play P Ridge, so
No,
we
but
played
I
that's P
desperately want
Ridge.
to, yeah.
We played Gettysburg.
And so these are just really nice looking Civil War maps. So P Ridge has this very, very green tint to it.
Yep.
And Gettysburg has the kind of brown tan tint to it.
So here's the Gettysburg map. I was looking for his name because it's on here somewhere. It's somewhere around here.
Showing
Robert Shields.
Yes.
So I this game was awesome. The counters were awesome. The map is amazing. I thought the box art was really good by Compass.
The counters are a bit more functional.
They are.
They stand out really well on these.
When they're all stacked up and lined up on there, it looks really amazing.
It looks like you're playing an American Civil War game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that. But yeah, the detail on this, again, it's the shading, it's the little details. This has a similar texture to something like Maori Wars, except it's not his print. The detailing of Gettysburg itself. It just when we played this back. When we did,
like 2017, 2018.
Something like that. I remember we got this out, and it was like I was kind of like took my breath away of like, oh,
pretty amazing.
This was an amazing map.
Yep.
Because we hadn't played a lot of amazing maps at that point.
Yeah.
And that was definitely one of them.
We were another one I want to show you. This is from Salerno to Rome. Oh my, I got the.
Oh, you're doing a me.
Yeah, I got the backwards. What the heck? There we go. I feel better.
From Salerno to Rome is, if you didn't know, a war game.
I love that part. This is Dissimula Edizioni. What's the guy's name? I'm drawing a blank.
Of the artist?
Yeah, the designer, because he did the map and the counter graphics. Sergio Schiavi. Sergio, I'm so sorry. We've talked to you dozens of times on email. Beautiful box. I love the relief here. This is an Italian invasion game from Salerno to Rome. The whole package is fantastic, from the rules to the art on the box, and I just love the map. Now, it's a different look than some of the others that we've shown tonight.
In a good way.
But in a good way. There is a lot of detail. If you look at the detail around the mountains, what I did when I wrote a piece on this on the blog, I actually went to a topographical map of this part of Italy, and it's really interesting. You can see the land following that, almost as if he laid it and then traced over it to get the basic feel. It's just gorgeous. The different types of terrain, the airfields, how they're shown. I mean, they're actually shown here on the map.
And again, the fine detail really takes the map to the next level.
Yep.
The buildings have a relief to them. There's a shadow on those. There's a drop shadow on the airfields as well, just to help things stand out a bit more without being like, here's a big black outline, right? You could have done that. There's nothing wrong with that inherently, but they really took the extra steps of making it look nice. Also,
I love that game.
The gameplay itself is excellent.
Fantastic.
This is a really, really, really good game and underrated.
I don't know
how easy this is to get in the US anymore.
I'm not sure they even have many copies,
it's
so I apologize for that. I think I've got one more game.
I have also one more.
Okay, so we're coming to the end.
Mine is a good old-fashioned 1815 Scum of the Earth. Not really any maps in this one. This is a card game.
Oh, beautiful.
But we had a really fun time playing it, and I literally bought this game for the artwork.
Yeah.
I couldn't have cared less if it had been a bad game.
And it was fantastic.
Yeah, because I saw someone
game.
playing it online, and the card artwork in this game is stunning. Like the rule books. Look at all this stuff. Even on the back of the rule book, look at those little grognards.
And that's all on the cards, right? All that stuff's on the cards.
Yeah.
Individual.
Look at this ridiculous first player marker. Look at Wellington. Look at Napoleon. Oh.
Hail the Emperor.
And there's 60 deck cards.
Yep.
And there's a couple of duplicates in them, but it is almost all entirely unique artwork in them.
Here's one of the location cards that you have to take over.
Even the little solitaire module dial has friggin' sweet artwork on it.
Great.
And that is also true of their other games that Whole or Nothing do, which we haven't got to yet, but we do own them and we'll play them.
Yep, we definitely will. And I know Tristan, the guy that owns this company and designed Tristan Hall or Nothing Productions.
Yes.
I know he is committed to art being one of the #1 aspects of these games. They've obviously got to be a good game, but man, if they look good as well, that's just a double whammy, and his games look absolutely
wonderful,
amazing.
wonderful looking game.
Yeah. This is another Terry Leeds illustrated game.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was Terry Leeds' game.
So this is Liberty or Death. Yeah. And he did this in Campaigns of 17. So he has a really different style in all of these games.
Yeah, I didn't know this was him.
Yeah, isn't that kind of interesting?
You learn something over that, and now you've said that, of course it is.
Yeah. Imperial Struggle. This is Jason Matthews and Nanda Gupta. It is a 100-year struggle between France, and England for control of the world, right? Fantastic game. We've enjoyed it every time we've played it. But the art is just, I mean, look at that detail. It's just so gorgeous. And then when you open the game up, the cards are fantastic. Ooh,
you also have a really nice organizer from Cube for me in this one.
I mean, look at the card art and the layout of those cards. The counters.
This game, when you play it, looks so good.
It's amazing.
There's all these little period counters, and there's different artworks on them of all the different characters.
Look at that nice tray.
Ooh, look at that.
Isn't that gorgeous? It really is great.
CubeForMe.com, I cannot stress to you.
They're so good.
Their little sets are custom made for these games, and yeah.
And I've actually really gotten into putting them together.
They ship from Poland, and they get here in about a week and a half to the middle of the U.S.
Help me with this board, because this is ridiculous.
I don't want to ruin it.
As well.
Oh, folds out that way. Okay.
There we go. Well,
there we go.
We're turning it around the wrong way.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
There's a lot going on
We're
this
really
board.
struggling here. This is a map basically of the world, right? You've got Europe. Isn't this Europe over? No, Europe's over here. Europe. You've got the Indian subcontinent. You've got the Caribbean. And then you've got the North America, Canada, the United States. When I first saw this board, I thought, that's a mess.
It was a lot going on.
I just thought it's really busy, but it's very unique in its design. It plays very well. You can really tell the detail from the... And if you looked at that Campaigns of 1777 map, you'll see a lot of the same terrain details here. But I also like the spaces. All of those spaces have a different shape, which denotes what they do and how they're used. There's different goods on there. Even the tracks are really just beautifully done.
Even the edging on the borders of the
it's
globe
so cool.
circles. Again, it's the level of extra detail and flair on some of these that really kind of takes them to the next level.
And look how that... Just look at that.
Look at how well organized that is.
That's a beautiful product right there. I'm going to be honest with you. But Imperial Struggle, I actually love this game. I would love to play it more. But, you know, we got so many games.
No,
it's
but
hard.
there's a lot of games kind of on the horizon that we're going to play that have, you know, good levels of artwork, right?
Well, this is another one, Stalingrad. I mean, look at that art.
Stalingrad. I think about Banish All the Snakes. Right?
Yeah.
That looks really nice.
Lots of detail on that.
We've got more of those All or Nothing games to play. Those both look gorgeous. I think, you know, people are really wising up to the fact that, like, hey, man, let's just put in some extra really nice artwork and let's go for it because we can. But yeah, that was... I know that was a lot of games.
That was a lot of games.
And there was a lot more that we could have talked about because I do think that Wargames are trending in the right direction with being able to look nice and for not having to apologize for it.
And I would say this, obviously, first off, it's got to be a good game. But if it's a good, solid game, throw good art in it, and man, you've got a winner. I mean, you just got such a great product.
It'll appeal to the people walking by the table who maybe would otherwise have ignored it for being another hex encounter war.
You know, another game that we just got recently, Die Festung Hamburg.
Yes.
You know, that game looks great with the art. It's a traditional hex encounter war game, but the maps are really good. The counters are very well done.
Is it different from the first ones in those series?
They've upgraded them a little bit. Yeah, the first maps I think were a little more digitally produced. These look a little.
I haven't seen inside that one.
But that's a real heavy, hardcore hex encounter war game.
And even they're stepping.
And it looks great. Great cover too. I mean, you got the guy with the chemical suit and the mask. I mean, it's just insane.
But yeah, there's a lot of cool games with great artwork going on, and there are companies. I think about Nuts. Think about some of the direction GMT goes on a lot of their games that are really trying to kind of push. Hey, let's kind of get up to par with the rest of board gaming and have some nice looking games out there, and we can, and that's totally fine.
And I also think it's going to lead to more crossover. You're going to have traditional board game players that are going to see that, and they're going to be more interested in that.
Yeah.
Now, is that a trick to try to get them over into the wargame world? Sure.
It might be.
But who cares,
but
right?
That's good.
We need to grow the hobby. We need to have more people. I still want to be playing in 25 years, and the only way to do that is to make sure we get young people that are going to come up through the ranks. We didn't show you any single coin series game, but I think we could use every single one of those as a great example of what Most of them.
Yeah, a lot
Most
of the
of
newer
them.
ones. Well, yeah, Liberty or Death, Pendragon.
Fire in the Lake, I think, is a great production. It's not as good as some of the others.
Yeah, that's got the old style map artwork, which
it's-
is nice.
yeah,
but I think
functional.
about Falling Sky. That's
Yeah,
nice.
beautiful. Very period.
All Bridges Burning.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
That's
games
Chechen
that they've got in there that look great.
Yep.
From an artwork.
I guess I'm
standpoint
just
too.
talking about wood on a board. Just always looks really good.
Yes,
it really
sure.
does. So, I had a good time talking about all these. I think there's 100 more games that we could go through.
So yeah,
But
we all know that you know what they are. So let us know in the comments what your favorite games are that have an element of beauty to them, that look great, that inspire you when you're playing them as well, or games that you would love to see get new artwork. Right. I would love to see some new artwork put on some of the intro SCS games, because then they can be popping off the shelves with new players.
And once again, some of their newer volumes, Aircourt was a prime example.
Aircourt
Cover
was
art
really
was
nice.
fantastic. The counters were upgraded. I thought the map was much better. So they've come a long way as well. Storm over Jerusalem, by the way, is
Looks
shipping
great.
like later this month.
Yeah.
So pretty exciting.
Well, and they've got Crown and Crescent coming out later in the year,
Yep.
and that also
Lots of good looking games.
Yeah, well, also looks good too. So people are up in their games. Let's stick with that trend. Love that. Let us
Please.
know what beautiful games you have played in the comments. I appreciate you very much for tuning in. I've been Alexander from PlayersAid.com.
And I'm Grant.